Ho ho ho! A very warm welcome to the Ingress Insights podcast from me, Santa Claus. You're listening to a festive episode of the Ingress Insights podcast, all about the Niantic Spatial game, where you make triangles. Ingress, I can see you've all made the nice list this year. Agents, I'll be filling enlightened and resistant stockings with very rare link amps, media capsules, and maybe even fit rep rewards if you're lucky, agents. Ho ho ho! Over to my pal PkmnTrainerJ with the latest on Ingress.
Additional intel available.
Hello agents, welcome to the 123rd episode of Ingress Insights. In this week's episode, we're going over the results of the plus beta build-up battles and therefore where the resulting shard storms are then happening next weekend. I'll also be going through the survey, looking at cargo and all the campaigns we've got going on, and finally at the end wrapping up with Spotify Wrapped, going through that and a little extra bit at the end, just discussing about an event that's coming up as well for Niantic Spatial. So first of all, I get into all the news related to plus beta. The plus beta build-up battles are now finished. Those ran from November the 21st at 5 PM ETC to the 1st of December. And the total points earned on there for Enlightened were 274,135, so getting 52.27% of the score. Resistance scored 250,326 points, therefore getting 47.73% of the score. So that meant from those build-up battles, the points earned were 1,054.4 points to Enlighten versus 954.6 points to Resistance. So the plus beta build-up battles were won overall by the Enlightened. These plus beta build-up battles were important because then they link to where we get the shard storms happening on the 13th and 14th of December. So I'm going to do those locations next. If you look on the Intel map, you can see all the cities hosting plus beta shard storm events, and those start at 1 PM local time. So in the APAC region, we've got Brisbane in Australia, Adelaide in Australia, Niigata in Japan, Osaka in Japan, Seoul in South Korea, Taguig in the Philippines, Kaohsiung in Taiwan, Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Shanghai in China, Guangzhou in China, and Chengdu also in China. For EMEA, we've got Budapest in Hungary, the Prague in Czechia, Ostanio in Italy, Tastrup in Denmark, Nijmegen, I'm going to pronounce that wrong, in the Netherlands, Elancourt in France, Encamp in Andorra, and Aberdeen in Scotland in the UK. The AMER regions are Sao Paulo, Brazil, again I'm going to get this wrong, Asunción in Paraguay, Santiago in Chile, New York in the USA, St. Petersburg in Florida in the USA, and Hayward in USA. So those are all for the 13th of December. For the 14th of December, we've got some different ones on there. So APAC, they've got one in Wellington, New Zealand, Melbourne, Australia. There was one in Sapporo, Japan, but that was cancelled due to some safety concerns from the agents there. Tokyo, Japan, Fukuoka, Japan, Naha in Japan, Beijing in China, Xiamen in China, Singapore, Bangkok in Thailand, and then EMEA region, we've got Helsinki in Finland, Oslo in Norway. Again, I'm going to get this one wrong because it's lots of letters without any vowels. Brno in Czechia, Rimini in Italy, Bernau bei Berlin in Germany, Bremen in Germany, Kaiserslautern in Germany, Cambridge in England in the UK, Newcastle upon Tyne in England in the UK, and I'm going to get this one wrong as well. Alversa do Ribatejo in Portugal. And then finally the ones in the AMER region, we've got Montevideo in Uruguay, Bogota in Colombia, Lima in Peru, Mayfield in Ohio in the USA, Salt Lake City in Utah in the USA, and Victoria in Canada. If you live in or near any of the cities that I've pronounced wrong, please do let me know so I know for next time how I've pronounced them. That'd be great. As I said, all these start at 1 PM local time, so the 13th and 14th. If you look at the Intel map, you will see where they are, what's going on, and be able to organise with the local agents there to go and complete. The plus beta build-up battles and the shard sums are important because the total score overall is now 2,059.2 points to Enlighten versus 1,740.8 points to resistance. And there are still 300 points from the bounty ops that we've got ongoing until the 14th of December. And then 1,250 points from the Shard Storms. So it could still go either way on there. As I said, Plus Beta comes to a head and comes to a finish on the 14th of December. So it's important to do what you can for your faction before that happens, even if it's to completing your daily bounties. It all helps out. That's it for Plus Beta. Obviously, next week I'll cover the results if we have any out on before I record. But if not, maybe everything comes out on the 21st of December once it's all wrapped up on there. I'll now move into general Ingress news. First of all, a small bit of Ingress news. We got an update to the app on the 5th of December. So we're now on version 3.1.1. And they mentioned that they updated inventory portal keys with a condensed view to show more keys at a time. Added option to collapse events to condensed view on dispatch campaign tab, which is very handy when we've got all the campaigns going on that we have. Under fixes, they said they fixed lock icons on previously earned silver global op medals. Fixed blank glyph icons on overclock review screen. Fixed campaign tab redux medal icons that were showing kinetic capsule icons. I'd seen that and that was a bit weird. Fixed redux medal date stamp and recursion wing. So seems like quite a lot of fixes, and having the portal keys list shortened is a lot better. Allows you to see more keys at once and scroll through without having the whole image filling the screen. And as I mentioned, we do have the campaigns all ongoing at the moment. You can purchase from the store all the memories campaigns, and you get the Plus Alpha campaign for free. You also get the Winter Solstice campaign that started for free too. And there is the additional Winter Solstice badge for 10,000 CMU if you want to pick that up. Don't have to. The campaign itself is free. I imagine we'll have another campaign for New Year. Whether that comes with a 10,000 CMU badge or whether that's free, I don't know. But it seems to be working well for them. We do have something new that should be coming in this version as well. So on the 4th of December, the team posted introducing the Cortex Augmenting Resource Grid Overlay, Cargo. So I was wrong on the acronym for that. The Ingress Team wrote agents. The NIA has identified a critical opportunity to enhance field operations to meet escalating global XM deployment demands. The Cortex Augmenting Resource Grid Overlay, Cargo, will arrive with scanner version 3.1. This XM-based technology temporarily expands an agent's cognitive and logistical capacity, increasing maximum inventory limits and enabling more efficient field operations. Historically, agent inventory has been constrained by cognitive mapping. Cargo addresses this limitation through advanced exotic matter, XM, algorithms that temporarily expand an agent's mental map of inventory, providing increased carrying capacity and more effective resource management. According to NIA researchers, the Cortex Augmenting Resource Grid Overlay is an XM-based cognitive enhancer that expands an agent's mental map of their own inventory for a limited duration, making them believe they can carry more, and so they can. With the release of Scanner version 3.1, Cargo will be available in the in-app store for a cost of 3,500 CMU each. Each cargo increases inventory capacity by 100 slots for 30 days from the date of acquisition. Agents may acquire up to 5 cargo slots simultaneously, with each cargo operating on an independent 30-day timer. Deployment is automatic upon acquisition through the temporary boost section of the store. Active cargo and their remaining durations can be monitored via the active cargo boost section in scanner settings. Upon expiration, the extra inventory capacity of 100 will become unavailable. No items are lost, but if inventory exceeds the adjusted limit, the agent will be prohibited from hacking portals, receiving items passcode, purchasing additional inventory items. So same thing when you're over capacity. Standard operations will resume immediately once the agent successfully reduced their item count below the active capacity limit. The successful integration of cargo makes a profound evolution in agent logistics and cognitive interfacing with XM technology. This system equips you with the capacity required to outmaneuver the enemy and sustain complex operation indefinitely. The data is clear. Capacity equals control. Ensure your operational readiness is absolute. We look forward to seeing the strategic dominance cargo enables on a global scale. So this is something the agent's been asking for a little while to get a bit of a boost, especially around anomalies when you're carrying a lot more gear than usual. So if you know you're going to anomaly in like 15 days, you could buy cargo and boost your inventory. You can get up to an additional 500 slots. So if you've got core and cargo, you can carry 3,000 items. Obviously, that's with buying all the cargo slots that are available. It's not in the store yet, from what I can see. I will just double check, but I don't think I've seen it in the store. No, it's not in the store yet as I'm recording on the 6th of December. But I expect it will be there shortly, so do keep an eye out for it, and I'm sure you'll see in various Ingress chats when it actually becomes live. The next bit of Ingress news I want to cover is that the Ingress team for their annual survey. So they've shared the link in all the chats. I'll share a link on here as well, where you can fill this in. So I'm just going to go through it now whilst on the podcast. There's got some questions on there that I do ask. The first question there asks about your current access level or recursion status in Ingress. So it could be level 1 to 8 never recurse, level 9 to 16 never recursed, recurse once or recurse more than once. They then ask if you've ever switched your faction alignment. You say no, yes once, yes multiple times. Where you've most frequently played Ingress, so a large city, suburban area near a large city, small city or rural town, rural or remote area, and then which region you normally play, so APAC, EMEA, North South America or other. There's then a drop down to ask how far away the nearest portal is from your home. Maybe you should say how close the nearest portal to your home, I don't know. But you can say I can reach a portal from home if you've got a couch portal, less than 5 minutes walk, 6 to 15 minutes walk, 16 to 30 minutes walk, over 30 minutes walk, or I don't know. They then ask how long you've been playing Ingress. You can say less than a month, 1 to 6 months, 7 to 12, 1 to 5 years, 6 to 10 years, 11 or more years. And how often do you play Ingress nowadays? Several times a day, daily, several times a week, weekly, several times a month, once a month, less than once a month. And that's all of page 1. There are 11 pages in this, I believe. The second section is under the subheading of social, saying how often do you meet face to face with a group of 7 or more other Ingress agents? So again, it could be daily, several times a week, weekly, several times a month, once a month, maybe you go out and do first Saturday, several times a quarter, several times a year, a few times a year, or less than once a year. They then ask what public social platforms you use to get your Ingress news and updates. So Reddit, Twitter, YouTube, Line, TikTok, Tumblr, Facebook, Blue Sky, Kakao Talk, Threads, Telegram, Instagram, Discord, Snapchat, Ingress app in-game news, or you can choose other and put Ingress Insights podcast in there if you felt like it. You can choose as many of those options as you want on there too. And they say approximately how many members are in the largest Ingress chat group you regularly interact with. So 2 to 10, 11 to 50, 51 to 200, more than 200, or I do not interact with us in any Ingress related chat groups. The third page deals with recruitment. So what's your primary motivation for playing Ingress today? You can choose up to 3. So exercise / walking, habit / routine, exploration / finding new places, strategic strategy control / faction dominance, socializing with Ingress friends, collecting medals / badges or other. Again, you can just choose up to 3 on there, so make sure it's the 3 that you get the most out of for Ingress. And what aspects of playing Ingress do you find most enjoyable? Again, that's picking up to 3. So exploring, I play to accumulate unique portal visits / captures, complete mission banners and visit new locations. Discovering, I enjoy improving the portal network by submitting new portals, editing existing portals, submitting new portal photos and or scans. Building, I enjoy maximizing links and creating control fields to secure mind units, MU. Coordinating, I plan BAFs, which here they've said is big augmented fields. I'm sure it's meant to be big ass fields, but maybe they couldn't put ass in a survey. Monitor the intel map and guide other agents during operations. Socializing, I prioritize meetups, XFAC events, and spending time with friends. The game is the catalyst for gathering. Clearing up, I enjoy clearing the board by destroying the opponent's faction constructs, especially high-level portal farms or areas under their control. Decoding, I enjoy delving into mysteries, tackling puzzles, and determining the most effective solutions. And then you have an other box as well. Most of these have got other boxes. What do you want to see change in your local Ingress environment? So more portals I can easily destroy, more opponents to complete with, more single faction meetups, more multi-city big operations, more cross-faction meetups, more allies to work together, more portals I can hack high-level items from, more overclockable portals. Then they ask, in your opinion, what are the key factors leading a former agent to quit? Insufficient challenge, overly competitive / hostile opposing agents, scarcity of nearby portals, lack of opposing agents, absence of community support, game mechanics are too complex, high battery / data consumption. And then finally getting on to the recruiting thing here, they say how many new Ingress agents you recruited in the past 12 months. You say I've not recruited anyone. 1 to 5, 6 to 10, or more than 10. And then there's a free format text box that asks you to describe the biggest obstacle of recruiting more agents. For me on this, is that there's no badge or reward or thing for doing it, and it's a bit difficult to explain Ingress to people because obviously there's many ways you can play it. The next box asks if you're currently a core subscriber, and that's all that's on the 4th page. Here I've just selected that I'm non-core subscriber just to see what it said. And it says what would make you consider purchasing core subscription. So core exclusive medals to purchase, lower price per month, more item rewards per month, extra mission creation capacity, core exclusive items with better discount rate to purchase, improved game stability / performance. That'd be a bit weird. Funds that you got extra in core. Core exclusive items like downloading shard jumps to Rose's Eye View, more CMU rewards per month, an upcoming anomaly event in a nearby city, more extra inventory capacity. I'm just going to go back and say that I'm a core subscriber just to see what it says on there. So if you say you're a current core subscriber, it says describe what changes would improve your experience with core subscription with a free format box. So essentially getting the same kind of thing on there. Page 7 discusses the Ingress store. So say if an Ingress web store is available, that is a standalone external website for purchasing CMU and items for in-game use with exclusive discounts and loyalty program. How likely will you? And then it gives you a string of options on here where you choose very likely, likely, neutral, unlikely, very unlikely, irrelevant / I don't know. So purchase items, XMPs, resonates, power cubes on the web store, purchase CMU on the web store, purchase cosmetic medals on the web store. The next question is, how would you feel about the following new purchasable items or paid features in Ingress? So these range from very desirable, desirable, neutral, undesirable, very undesirable, irrelevant / I don't know. So do you want an item that infects a neutral portal with Machina? A new weapon? It's kind of vague. A way to earn more rewards via event bounties. A portal key blank that can be used to duplicate a portal key. A portal shield stronger than Aegis shield. An item that keeps a portal from being infected by Machina. A way to earn more rewards via daily bounties. A portal key archiving feature that once activated on a portal key will only allow using the key to view the portal, but not to link to the portal nor drop the key. There's then 2 free format questions. So what other types of purchasable paid items or features would you like to see in Ingress? And you type in an answer there. What kind of medals do you like and why? I just need to tick boxes. I'm not actually going to submit this survey, so I'm just choosing some options on there to make it move to the next stage. I have already filled in my survey when it first came out. The next page talks about features. So it says, which of these features released this year have you used? For each feature used, please rate its impact on your gameplay experience. So here you're rating significantly better, slightly better, did not change, slightly worse, significantly worse, NA / I don't know. So they've introduced starred portal designation on keys, Jones Eye View, key sorting by portal alignment, and the reinstated Seer medal. Next, they mentioned describe a feature you'd like to incorporate into a future version of Ingress. Again, that's a free format box. So if you want to put fit rewards in there, please go ahead and do so. Again, I just need to select some options to get to the next page. I'm not going to submit it. Then the next page talks about in-game only events. Say, which of these global in-game events have you participated in? For each event, rate its impact on your gameplay experience. Same as last time, significantly better, slightly better, did not change, significantly worse, slightly worse, NA, I don't know. So Ingress second Sundays, double AP during first Saturday, New Year 2025, plus Alpha Global Campaign, Year of the Snake Celebration, Valentine's Day 2025, Toasty Day 2025, Capture the Irrational, plus Data Global Campaign, OPR Live happened April 2025, plus Data Global Campaign Rezo, Level 8 Week, plus Delta Global Campaign Field, the Spider Web, Ingress Year 13 Celebration, and plus Beta Build-Up Battles. They then ask how often you would like to see global in-game events, so 1 event per week, 2 events per month, 1 event per month, 2 events per quarter, 1 event per quarter, less often than 1 event per quarter, and other. And then they ask you to get creative and describe a global in-game event or type of event you'd like to incorporate into the future of Ingress. We've had that many events on there. Sounds like a lot when you list them out like that. Then the 10th page asks about in real life events. So in 2025, which in real life events have you attended while playing Ingress? and how well did each of the live events below impact your experience with Ingress. So again, the same options on there. Plus Alpha, Yokozuka, Tucson, and Nepal. Plus Theta, Manila, Providence, Perth, Chemnitz. Plus Delta, Malacca, Portland, Gothenburg, Quebec City, Denpasar City, Cambridge. Plus Beta, Valencia, Sao Paulo, Wellington, Houston, Taiwan, The Hague. The Running Man Immersive Mission. Shard Skirmish, Battle Beacon Skirmish, Ingress Mission Days, NL1331X Meetup, and Ingress Fest Saturdays. They then say you can list cities in rows of city name, state, and country you'd like to see an Ingress live event. So an XM Anomaly, Skirmish, Mission Day, other test format, like Field Test Dispatch, I suppose. And tell us what makes them a good choice for Ingress live events. And then say, please describe an Ingress in real life event or other type of event that you'd like to see incorporate into the future of Ingress. So there, it's just similar as the last page. This is now asking for some real world in-person events and how you like those to be. The final bits are just asking for your age range. So I'm not going to bore you with what those say on there. And then you can click submit, and that goes off to the Ingress team. I assume at some point they'll have a meeting, discuss all of the things on there, and then basically decide what they're going to do with Ingress from there. I'm sure they've got some plans already. Finally, for general Ingress news, Brian wrote a note about Ingress Year 13, so I just want to cover that. So Brian wrote, V3, if Niantic Labs incubated Ingress 1.0 and Niantic Inc. launched Ingress 2.0, then Niantic Spatial is Ingress 3.0. It's more than just a version bump and logo change. We've been evolving the way we work together as an Ingress team so we can get more shots on goal and test more new ideas. We're a smaller team than we were, yet our responsibility has grown. Oh, hello, OPR. So we're prioritising our most mission critical work first and running little experiments to learn fast. Since our spin out, these quick experiments range from testing the accuracy and precision of specific anti-cheat signals to selling loadout kits on the web to reduce the 30% chunk taken by the app stores from every in-app purchase. We're trying to answer key questions like, can we try several new and different ways to increase agent activity and engagement? Can we make a monthly core subscription more useful and gain more subscribers? Can we re-sign existing partners as well as sign new sponsors? Our goal is to make Ingress a forever game. We need an active agent community for Ingress to succeed. We also need the business end to run sustainably. It should be fun to play too. All these things are important and none of them particularly easy. So run these experiments to learn as much as we can, as fast as we can, and our coming year will be even better as a result. Growing the community. I think Ingress is at its most fun when I'm playing together with others. That might be a first Saturday or a meetup or battling a nearby opponent over a portal. When there are more players, there's more back and forth activity across the portal network, there's more to do. More players mean more opportunities to connect with us IRL, and for me that's more fun. We're trying to grow our player base by experimenting with new kinds of events that are accessible to the widest audience of active players as possible. We want to keep agents who've been playing Ingress for years, and we also want to keep agents who are just now getting started. If we can help more players make progress past the early access levels and connect with their local communities, then we can grow our numbers. And before we pay for more Ingress ads to get new downloads, I think we should see if we could keep players engaged with events like Redux, Solstice, Polaris, and upcoming dispatch challenges first. Adventures on foot with friends. One more thing, as Gentry rapidly advances in spectacular ways, I think it's helpful to also have daily reminders to touch grass and make real authentic friends. We started Ingress to enable more adventure on foot with friends, and the mission continues 13 years on and on forever. With Ingress, there's no excuse to go for a walk, rediscover your neighbourhood, explore a new place, make a new friend, or look at the world a little bit differently. You're what makes Ingress so special. Thank you for playing. Just one note on here that I hope I emphasised on when I'm going through it. Brian mentioned events like Redux that we've got going on at the moment, Solstice we've got going on at the moment, and then Polaris, which we don't have and we've not got any details for as yet. So that seems like it will be the next event. Maybe it will be the end of year event, or maybe the first event for 2026. So just keep an eye out for that coming up. That's all the Ingress news I've got for now. So I'm moving to some little bits to wrap things up and then just discuss something I was going to be doing next week, but I'm now not doing. Hopefully, I've been saying the word wrapped enough that you've got the idea that it's now Spotify wrap time. So, obviously, I host this podcast on Spotify, and then it goes out to all the other apps like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, whatever you're listening to this now on. Before I do get into the Spotify wrapped stuff, because lots of data, I do want to say thank you to everyone supporting me on Patreon. I've managed to get a nice little amount from that so far. That's all going to go back into the podcast, probably the next thing it will do is get me a new headset. The one I'm currently using when I do editing, just to make sure I've edited out coughs and things like that, is one that I have from my old workplace. So it's not fantastic. I could do with a lot better one. It'll allow me to pick up on things I may not have done before. So that'll be the next thing on there. I've got a decent microphone. I've got a ring light for when I do videos, stuff like that. Probably the next thing will be a better video, because I've got at the minute a little USB webcam. So I could get something a bit better than that, have a bit of a sharper image. So that's where all the kind of money from Patreon goes into, just some more stuff to try and make the podcast better. That being said, I'll now go through the Spotify wrap thing. If you use Spotify, you know that around like December, late November, you get a wrap that tells you about the songs you listen to, podcasts you listen to, stuff like that. Spotify also does a For Creators wrapped as well. So this tells me things about the most listened to episodes, stuff like that. So I thought I'd share it with you on this episode. It says, first of all, the total audience is up 64% from last year. So that's fantastic. And the total new audience, a lot of you found this podcast in 2025. So it's up 457% from last year. The total followers only on Spotify is up 98% from last year, which again is fantastic. And there's been a 40% increase in total listening time from last year. The most listened to episode, I share this on Blue Sky from 2025, is episode 100. Not surprising, because it's the interview with Alex about Pinkgrass and various other things related to Ingress. And that was played 472% more than my normal episode. So that's great. I'm sure that Brian's interview will come as one for 2026, because it's released and shared that part of it. The next part deals with countries, so where people listen to this podcast. So 49 countries listen to the podcast, and the top 5 are Canada, Slovakia, United Kingdom, Australia, and the United States at the top. I know this already. I do look at the data every now and again. Ingress Insights was a top 10 podcast show for 219 people listening on Spotify. So again, that's amazing. And a top 5 show for 189 people. And then the number 1 show for 107 people. So 107 of you, this is your number 1 most listened to podcast of the year. So that's amazing. Thank you. And it says 20% of you listen within 24 hours of a new episode drop. That's great. I know lots of people mention listening on the way to work on a Monday. And then it tells me a bit about what it thinks you'll listen to. So apparently you all listen to Linkin Park. Good choice on there. Taylor Swift. I think unfortunately this might annoy some people, but I think I know 2 songs by Taylor Swift. Alex Warren, pass. Jorge Rivera Herons, also pass. MGK, pass again. Top audiobooks for all of you are How to Sell Your Blood and Fall in Love. Sounds a bit sketchy. Then a foreign Harry Potter book, Harry Potter and Destine de Wizard, Prisoner of Azkaban, maybe. The Secret Footballer, What Goes on Tour, Lyric Language Italian, and Techno Feudalism. The other podcasts you all listen to are the Joe Rogan Experience. Not listed that, I'm afraid. I don't think I've listed any of these on here. I recognise 2 of them from last year. So Alex and Sig's podcast, Falkenberg podcast, and That's Why We Drink, and Spawncast. I recognise the Joe Rogan one, and That's Why We Drink. There's a little awards thing at the end of this, say that fans listen to longer than 89% of other shows, which makes a 2025 marathon show, and receive more comments than 94% of other shows, making a 2025 talked about show, and a most shared show, receiving more shares than 98% of other shows. As I mentioned, I did share some of those before on Blue Sky, but that's all great stuff. I don't know how to more say thanks in different ways for sharing and listening and tuning in to all this time that I put into the podcast and talk about Ingress. The only other thing I really want to mention before I move on to get wrapped up is that Niantic Spatial attend events throughout the year, so they show off what they're doing in AR, obviously what they're doing now in AI and LLMs as well, or large map model. I can't remember the acronym for it, but previously when I was working at the job that I had until I got moved in at the end of October, I was planning to go to United XR, which is an augmented reality show. So you get loads of companies come and show stuff off. I was going to interview some people at Niantic Spatial, talk about what they're doing in that kind of space, talk about Ingress if I could a little bit and how that factors in. Unfortunately, with the redundancy, I won't be able to attend, but I have asked them to move my press pass to next year. So hopefully I can attend AWE, which is the American version of that, Augmented World Expo, and then United XR, which is the Europe version, as I believe Niantic Spatial will be at both of those. So I was planning to have an episode up and ready to go for when I was going to be at that, but obviously that's not happened now, so I didn't need the backup episode. So that'll be at another time. That's all for other news, so I'm moving now to get things all wrapped up. Thank you, agents. This is the 123rd episode of Ingress Insights. Next week, we should have the finale of Plus Beta and then move into Plus Gamma for 2026 Q1. I'll update you on my campaign progress next time around. There was just a lot to get through with the cargo and the Wrapped and the survey this time. I thought I'd save it to next time when there may not be as much going on. I do want to say thank you once again for all the support on Spotify, Patreon, wherever you listen to the podcast on there. Seeing all the numbers on there was really great and makes it feel even more worth doing and spending my time going and editing out everything on there, making it sound as good as I can. I do hope to attend more anomalies in 2026 if I can get out there, obviously depending on earning a wage, getting a new role. I'm sure that'll happen sooner rather than later. That's all for me for this week though, so thank you again for listening, agents. Hope you have a great Sunday. Don't forget it is second Sunday next weekend, so do prepare for that with your scans, whatever you're going to do that. But that being said, have a great Sunday, happy hacking, and I'll meet you out there. Thank you, agents, for listening to the latest episode of the Ingress Insights podcast. If you'd like to support the podcast, you can do that in a couple of ways. So the easiest way to support the podcast is via Patreon. So you can find it at patreon.com/Ingress Insights. And there's a free tier, a $1 a month tier, whatever that is in your local currency, and a $5 a month tier. You can check out what benefits those come with on the Patreon. One other thing you can do that's totally free that helps out a lot is rating the podcast on your podcast service of choice. So where you can leave a rating or leave comments, that always helps increase visibility. And then finally, you can follow us on various social media channels. We use most of them, but the best one to follow us on now is Blue Sky. So that's just ingressinsights.bsky.social. Search for Ingress Insights on Blue Sky, you'll find us on there. Finally, sharing the podcast with friends, family, other agents who want to listen and get updates, so it helps out and helps get interviews with various Ingress people or other game related people to then increase visibility more. So anything you can do from those is great. Thanks again for listening, agents. Have a great day.
Intel package transferred.